This episode of the Golf Gambling Podcast from the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code GOLFSGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing CFB and NFL with Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. If you haven't downloaded the SGPN app, you're missing out. The SGPN app gives you access to all the podcasts on the network and the picks all in one space, all in one spot. So go over to the App Store and type in the SGPN app. Download it today. It will really help us out. So we're live. Dom is back. We got the Butterfield Bermuda Championship. How could you not love this name? But before we talk about this tournament, first of all, thank you for being here again. And let's talk a little bit about Mexico, WWT. So thanks for being here, Dom.
Yeah. Honestly, for our first week back, it was pretty solid. Our guy Highsmith worked his way up into the top 10. Damon got up there a little bit. He hung around. So yeah, overall, I mean, we briefly talked about Eckroat as well. So good week.
Damon cashed out top 40, right?
Yeah.
That was the bet of the week. That was the one you were most ready to dial in, and we locked it in. I didn't tail it, but I probably should have, because I told you I don't do – when I touch Joel Damon, he turns to shit. So I'm glad you got there. I had a very sweaty Sunday with Justin Lauer. He was leading a little bit for the front nine, and then he quickly faded, but he was very lucky. I don't know how much you got to watch, because the first hour and a half was not on the broadcast, and I was listening on the Sirius XM, and he chipped in 3 times on the front nine. So I was like, all right, this is either going to be historic or the most lucky thing ever, and it's going to go away. But he ended up losing by 1. Austin Eckroat got in so insanely hot. So it sucked that I lost by 1 again, and it's my 3rd runner up of the fall already, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's rough.
And yeah, but I know we're close. I think we're going to get one sooner than later. So I guess we'll have to see.
Yep.
Yeah. So how much did you get to watch on last week?
Sunday, not too much. During the weekend, I watched a couple times. I honestly thought there was going to be a point where Nico was actually going to run away with it again, and he was just going to turn into the fall Scotty Scheffler. But yeah, what was it? Friday, Nico just went off, and I was like, how is this happening again? And why didn't we pick him?
Right. And we talked about how his price was fair, and his everything was fair. And I think I'm going to talk about it again, because he's still priced in a spot where I don't think he should be. But
yep.
I don't know. I thought it was a fun little sweat on Sunday. But if you didn't have Lauer, Carson Young, or Eckroat, there's probably no reason for you to be watching. So if you didn't watch, I don't blame you, because it was a fairly bland, boring event. Thankfully, I had a little bit of a sweat, because football season has not treated me well. So I'm glad I got to feel something in the golf world, because we're still in the fall swing. But yeah, I guess we touched on that. Had a nice little sweat. Let's get into this week. So top of the leaderboard, top of the odds board. We got some Sheamus Power, Maverick McNeely, McKenzie Hughes, Doug Ghim, Ben Griffin. We'll start with those 5 golfers. Such a fun. I love seeing Maverick McNeely with a 16 to start. That is just so hilarious. Prolific non-winner Maverick McNeely up there. Sheamus Power, winner of this event. Anyone out of those top 5 that you want to either touch on or all right, I could see myself starting my car with this?
I think I could see myself starting with Sheamus Power, but I'm not there yet.
Favorite.
I'm not there yet, but he is appealing compared to the rest of the top.
See, I don't know if how much I can get myself to a Sheamus with 16-1. I know he's won this event. I know he's playing all right in the fall, but I just don't think he has as high as safe as a floor as. I mean, no one really has a safe floor or a safe ceiling. I'm sorry, safe ceiling. But it's just Sheamus. He won this event around, I think, 30-1, and I don't know. He's won twice. I guess you could say he's got as much winning protege as anyone in this field.
Yeah.
But still, 16 is tough on Sheamus, and I'm sure you can find a better number anywhere. I'm looking at somewhere else. I'm looking at DraftKings, but Sheamus, Maverick, and McKenzie Hughes are just tough to pull that trigger up top and start the card.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't think I'll get there, but if I had to, if you force the hand with any of these guys underneath 20, it would probably be Power.
I like McKenzie Hughes, honestly, because I'm impressed with how well he's hitting his irons. Like, if you look at his recent approach numbers, that's unlike McKenzie Hughes. Like, he has like +3, +6 in some of his two of his three most recent starts.
Yeah.
And McKenzie Hughes is generally a guy who will hit some fairways and roll in a ton of putts. But if you're telling me this man's gaining 5 strokes on approach, and we know he could roll every putt in, I can be convinced. And we saw him as like not a favorite, but a short price at the Pro Tour play really, really well when I thought he was going to play like shit at a high price. So I would not be shocked to see Mac Hughes do it. Like he's won he's won at the RSM, he's won at this style, a short Bermuda course before. I'm down. And if it gets super windy and it becomes a scramble fest, he works in that sense too. So if I want to start with someone up here, would be Mac Hughes.
Yeah. But again, I feel like it's very similar to last week where it's just kind of gross to pay 20 to 1 or less on a guy like this. I mean, Grazerman last week kind of paid off his tag. Like he was priced appropriately. He was hanging around all weekend, but
fucking golfer.
Yeah, he is. So obviously these guys are up here for a reason. I know that they kind of blend in with most of the guys below them, but yeah, it's not a horrible thing to start your card up here. And like you kind of mentioned last week, when you were getting someone at 16 to 1, 18 to 1 at the very top of the board, there's already value off the jump. So
yeah. So yeah, it makes you build a bigger card. But I want to talk about Doug Ghim for a second because he bounced back nicely off that miscut or that poor performance as like a 30 to 1 in a decent Zozo field. And he finished T20, I believe, last week. And Doug Ghim, this is a perfect course for Doug Ghim. Like, he's going to hit fairways, and you give the man a ton of short irons and wedges. Like, that's his game. So I could see Doug Ghim bouncing back in a good way like he did it last week. 20 to 1, I don't think it's a great number. But the field is so shit, and Doug Ghim has been playing all right in the fall. I don't see him being super popular because there's a guy by the name of Ben Griffin below him who's going to be giga chalk. But I could see Doug Ghim being the sneaky guy from this top 5 top 5 on the odds board. See it.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Ben Griffin?
I really don't have. He didn't pop too much for me. I don't know. It's going to be really hard for me to get there with Ben Griffin. Ben
Griffin, he does a few things well, and you get him on a short Bermuda golf course, he's a slut for it. That's what he cares about. That's what he loves. And it's not just here. He's got I think a 3rd place finish here where he blew a lead on the back 9. Not a big deal. Had him at 100 to 1, but it still hurts. No, it does still hurt. And he's always performed on these short Bermuda golf courses. He's generally accurate off the tee when he doesn't have to hit when he doesn't have to hit a driver 340 and he can dial it back. He's generally really accurate, and that's what you have to do here. And then you get him on Bermuda. You get him on with wedges. That's what he does well. So I definitely like Ben Griffin, but he's gonna be so popular. I want to be a part of a popular Ben Griffin. So
and he's been extremely consistent this year. He's had a handful of top 10s, and like you said, around the green is kind of the thing that pops for him. He's in the green when it comes to the chipping and being around the green, scrambling, whatever. So just God, it's just so weird seeing these numbers in the fall. I'll never get used to it.
No, it was really funny. All right, we'll go down to a little bit of a lower range. Give me your 2 best guys from Sam Stevens, Justin Lauer, Andrew Novak, Lucas Glover, Daniel Berger, Andrew Putnam, and Matty Schmid. 2 of those guys.
It would be Lucas Glover 1, and then I think Sam Stevens would be my 2nd.
I do like Sam Stevens. I mean, Glover, like, he can gain 14 on approach. He could do it, especially with wedges and the middle irons. Can you see yourself getting to Glover?
That's actually where my card starts currently. So I just feel like this is the type of golfer we're looking for. I mean, he popped for me last week, but I didn't know if he could continue the whole, I think, what did he have? Back-to-back top 3s or something. But he's been really good in approach, really good around the green. And he wasn't horrible last week. I mean, he finished T24, but getting him at 28 to 1 and also willing to throw a top 20s plus 120. So I think that's a pretty good spot. I don't want to talk about like his win equity, but like we said, he can get there on approach. He's good with his short game, so I don't see why he couldn't win.
He's not scared to mix at this number before. He's done it in John Deere Classic type events and like when he's around 30-1. And I mean, newsflash, Lucas Glover is good on approach, like shocker. And he's there's no reason why he can't lead the field in approach. And if he's gained that. We don't know his putting numbers from the WWT last week. There's no strokes gained, but outside of that, he's gained strokes putting in 4 of his last 7, which is a lot for Glover. Glover usually is always red on the greens. If he's showing anything on the greens, I think he could be a decent look. I'm not a Lucas Glover guy. I don't want to bet the old man, but I definitely see it. I like a guy by the name of Andrew Novak, a young stud who he showed really good things in 2024 early on in the season. Remember when he won the Waste Management? How can we forget that? And he striped the ball to Zozo. He hit the ball so well to Zozo, just putted horribly. He took last week off. Now he's back. And me and Andrew Novak are both Carolina Panthers fans, so it's been a struggle. And I think something good has to happen in his life. And I think that could happen this week at the Butterfield Bermuda Championship. He knows how to play in these conditions. He's from the Southeast. So I'm down for Novak. It's a tough number, but I think we could do worse than 28-30 in this field on Novak. He mixes. He's not afraid of top 10.
He is one guy who came up on my short list of guys who play really well on these shorter courses. So I kind of went back and looked at a lot of courses that play under 7,100 yards because there's not too many of them. But he was where was he? Since 2022, he was 6th in my model. So
okay. That's a very unique number. I would not have guessed that, but I do like I do like Andrew Novak, but I also kind of like Sam Stevens, and you mentioned him. I feel like he could be a golfer who can tear this place apart off the tee. Just like I talked about this last night, but I want to like ask your thoughts about it. Every single year, but the Bermuda Championship, everyone looks at like accuracy guys, like plotters. But it's only because that the field is like full of accuracy guys and plotters. Right. Like if Rory McIlroy or Scotty Scheffler played this field or Bryson DeChambeau, they would win every time. Like we don't usually get guys who could hit it both long and straight that play this event. But if you're a guy who's a bomber and you're having a great driving week, you could absolutely start on second base in this field. If you're hitting it long and straight, and Sam Stevens has the ability to do that. He stripes it off the tee. He's shaky on approach, but he showed some decent things over the last month with the approach. And he's never won before, but I like that he has that skill set from a ball striking and off the tee standpoint. And I want to give myself some guys who have the ability to gain 6 strokes off the tee at a course that guys generally don't gain 6 strokes off the tee. So I just wanted to look at it from a different point of view than just like you need to be an accurate driver. Obviously, you need to be an accurate driver, but why not be long and accurate?
Right. The accuracy applies pretty much everywhere. So, and especially if the winds are going to pick up, you're going to want somebody who has a little bit more distance as well. I mean, I'm not looking into the wind too much, which we didn't really talk about it, but is obviously going to play a factor. So I don't think the scoring is going to be extremely low like we've seen in past years. I mean, 24 under last year. And then Power won at 19 under, and then back-to-back years of 15. I think we're going to see somewhere around like 15 to 20, to be honest.
Yeah, and we saw on Thursday in Mexico, like 5 under leading after day 1 was like unheard of on a course like that has literally no defense. And I was with someone, I was with my good buddy Will Wilcox, who caddies for Sung JM. You know who Willie is. And we were golfing, and he said that this has to be the strongest win we've seen in 2024 outside of the Open, because he's seen that golf course and he's like, there's no way that these are the scores right now. It has to be objectively insane out there. And it was really windy, but then as soon as it calmed down on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the guys lit it up. So on a golf course like this, when it's surrounded by water and wind, it can blow and it can get tough. So if you have the extra bit of pop off the tee, maybe when you're carrying, if you can carry a 280 with a driver versus a 3-wood, like that could help in certain situations. So
I agree.
I'm gonna put a stronger weight on like total driving than I usually would in an event like this. So
because I don't think people are exactly looking at that. And I think it's a different way to look at this course. And obviously, 100%. Like we've always said, in a fall event like this, you can take whatever stance you want. You know what I mean?
Yeah, do whatever you want. I mean, literally, I said last week for Justin Lauer, I like him on big birdie fest courses. It was like, what does that even mean? It's a long course that you have to make birdies on, which is not like a statistical thing at all. And the dude almost fucking won. So just that was lucky, but it is what it is. So the rest of this 30-1 range, no one else really catches my eye. I think Berger's still not ready. I think he's getting closer. Patrick Rodgers is coming off back-to-back top 3, top 4 this event, but I could live with myself if I don't bet a 30-1 Patrick Rodgers. Like, I really wouldn't be that upset. You have any feelings towards him?
I like him quite a bit, but I don't know if I like him enough to bet him outright. I think I would lean more towards I think it's top a good 20.
Play, what you're saying. I think he could. He's just consistent. I struggle to see him gaining enough on approach to really contend to win. But I know what you're saying. He could roll the rock though and have a.
And it's not because of you can't win, blah blah blah. I mean, it's just like 30-1. I would rather. I mean, it looks like his top 20 numbers plus 140. Top 10 is plus 320. So I would probably lean more the top 20. I think he can hang around for the weekend, but does he get there and run away with it? I really don't know if he can get there, especially at 30-1, but he's definitely someone that caught my eye this week.
Yeah, no, I agree. All right, let's go down to this other, rest of the guys are on 30-1. And you and I have to Vic-lap Matty Schmid because we both said he was at too short of a price. He's going to he's going to fall back. And he was about those back-to-back top 3 finishers or whatever it was. He ends up missing the cut. We were like, there's no way he's going to keep this up, miss the cut. And we gave out a nice little prop, a 14-1 Martin Trainer. I don't know if that got there, but there was definitely other ways to fade Matty Schmid. And if you did, hopefully you made money. Now he's back at 30-1, coming to a course where he finished third at. And he's done really well on these kind of shorter courses. He almost won the Shriners, shorter course. We have to hit fairways. I mean, you look at Matty Schmid, he looks like a big bomber, but he kind of fucks on these short professional courses where you got to make some birdies. So thoughts on Schmid?
I like him better than we did last week, but he's not one that I'm really going towards this week. I mean, we talked about him not being able to kind of keep that up, and like you said, that was a great play, especially if you faded him in DFS and all that. But I don't think I'm going to get there again, honestly.
Yeah. I think I agree with you. I don't want to when I bet him at the Shriners, he was 55-1, and there was never really a chance where I was like, oh, he's gonna win this event. I know he was playing well, but I was like, I don't want to bet Schmid at 30. Yeah. I think I'm gonna pass. There's some names coming up that I want to consider, and one of them is Rico Horry, who I bet last week, and I think I like him again here, and he fits the bill of a golfer, like I said, like Sam Stevens, a guy who can gain those 6 strokes off the tee and be the both long and straight guy. And then when he stripes it. He's getting better with the putter, especially if it's a little windy. He hits such a solid ball. I think Hoy could be in for a nice week. So I might go right back to him. I think what did I take him last week? Like 40-1? I don't mind a 35 at all.
Yeah. Especially off of the form that he's coming off. And he was hanging right around there for quite a while. So
yeah, he played all right last week, and then he just kind of faded.
Where did he even finish up at?
I think it was 45th, but he was starting off really hot. Yeah, he faded late. Yeah. He had a good week. I know what you're saying. He wasn't like it was a good T45. So I'm not too concerned with him, and he's playing decent in the fall. He's not scared to make some birdies if he needs to. I think I might go to Horry. So anyone else in this want to talk about Nico, Johnny Vegas, Jacob Bridgman? Those are the guys that are sub 40-1 on DraftKings. Any of those three?
I do not have those, but I have someone just over 40 is probably my favorite outright. So I'll jump right into it if you're ready. But Grayson Sig.
Sig. All right. Talk to me about Sig. I would not have thought you were going to say that.
Yeah, I don't know. I've really ever bet him outright, but when I kept going through, he just kept popping up, and sometimes it's hard to ignore. So obviously, made a late push this fall to get comfortably inside the top 125, but still with 2 weeks left, you gotta still make your cuts and whatnot. So he's still got a little bit to play for, but he missed 6 straight cuts before recently. He has made 3 of his last 4 since then. All 3 were top 25 finishes with a T4 at the Pro Core. But like I said, when I was kind of filtering out some courses that I thought compared to this one or courses that were shorter, he was atop my list consistently. So I think I'm going to ride the form, ride what I was seeing in a little bit of my research, and take Grayson Sig at 45-1. If you don't feel like doing an outright, I think his top 30 at even money is extremely fair as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's a Georgia Bulldog. He's pretty solid on Bermuda grass. I like him on short courses, like you said. I didn't think you were going to say that, to be honest, but I kind of liked Grayson Sig. I bet him one time. It was at, I think, the Myrtle Beach event, and he played all right, which is Bermuda, similar style of golf. I think Grayson Sig is solid. I like a guy down here at this 35 number. I'm going to leave you guys waiting because really quickly I have to talk about Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy Pick'em has one of the biggest menus for all sports: NFL, college hoops, college football, MMA, NBA, NASCAR, and more. Boosttober is upon us, which means you're getting a spooky amount of boost. You can now use your specials and boost on all flex entries. Tune into the SGPN website to see my pick. So sign up with code GOLFSGPN to get a special pick plus first-time deposit offer up to $1,000. Promo code GOLFSGPN. BetUS. Bet with the best business in sports. BetUS has been around for 30 years. Easily deposit using crypto and get lightning fast payouts. A bet that we like on BetUS is someone that I will be telling you after this ad read. So go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. Promo code SGPN. And then finally, Rhythm. SGPN's proud partner, Rhythm, is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom models, get predictions for spreads, totals, money lines, and props all in 1 second. Build your own model, copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard, or have one build one for you. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. All right. Let's decompress for a second. A golfer that I like sub 40-1 is Jacob Bridgman. Jacob Bridgman is not a guy who's going to blow you away with strokes gained approach stats, but I just think he's lingering enough, and he has the ability to be Cam Smith at TPC Sawgrass. Just gain 9 strokes putting, and while that's not a sustainable way to do things, I can see it happening for a week with Bridgman where he just explodes with the putter and has a decent enough approach week where he gains like 1 or 2 on approach and just makes everything. And I could just see it happening in the fall. So I think he's a guy that I just want to continue to monitor and potentially buy in the last few fall events.
Yeah, was one of my favorite rookies heading into the year, and he definitely hasn't disappointed. So he's another guy who was in the top 10 on my list of the short courses. So obviously smaller sample size being a rookie, but he popped.
All right, 40 to 50 range. A name that catches my eye for sure is Alex Smalley. We both did not like him last week, but he made the cut. I like him in a bounce back spot. He's the guy who loves a short Bermuda course, and that's what we have here. He grew up at Sedgefield, which is a short Bermuda course, and he's a Southeast guy, so he should feel very comfortable, and he's played well here before. He's made all 3 cuts, so I definitely like Alex Smalley this week, and he's a guy who can gain a ton on approach. Should be in for a good week.
Yeah, I don't mind Smalley at all here.
You like anyone else in this 40 to 50 range? Or even a little bit down.
Joseph Bramlett.
Joey Brams, the guy who could do it with a driver.
So he popped a little bit for me last week, and I kind of avoided it. But just if you look what he's done over the past few weeks, I mean, off the tee, he's been really good, obviously. He's been good around the green. He's gained on approach in 4 straight measurable events. His putting is really the only thing that really holds him back. But in a week where the conditions might get a little difficult, maybe we don't weigh in putting as much as we would on a normal week. So T58 last week, obviously nothing great, but if you can grab Bramlett, let's see what his top 40 is. That's probably where I would sit his top 30 or 40. Yeah, top 40 is minus 110, top 30 plus 125. So outright wise, I don't hate it. The number's a little bit short for me, but I would definitely, I think I'd feel comfortable with a minus 110 top 40 for Joseph Bramlett.
There's two names from this like 50 to 60 range that I like. Brendan Todd and Ben Kohls. The week that Brendan Todd gains strokes on approach, he's going to finish inside the top 10, and he just hasn't been. But he's had the time off and this is a golf course that asks Brendan Todd to do exactly what he does well. Hit it straight off the tee, be good with your wedges and middle irons, and roll some putts. That is literally the only things Brendan Todd can do. And heading back to a course where he's won, plus Bermuda, he's great on Bermuda.
Yeah.
I don't see why I wouldn't go to him at 55 to 1 because there's weeks where he's much shorter in these really weak fields just because he's a name that's won before. Yeah. So I think it's a good number on Brendan Todd.
I'm in on Ben Kohls as well.
You are? What do you like about Ben Kohls?
So, I mean, kind of an outlier guy, like off of his Korn Ferry season last year. Like I didn't expect him to be the leading point scorer on the Korn Ferry tour, but it's obviously pushed him ahead of a lot of people to be able to play in just about whatever event he wanted this year. He's only missed 2 cuts in his last 11 starts. He's gained that approach in 5 straight. His irons have been really good, and saw him throw away a win earlier. Was that in the summer at the Byron Nelson or whatever it was?
I had Pendrith that week, and I got so lucky.
It was essentially over. Like there was almost no way Kohls lost. And
I was at a music festival, and I looked at my phone, and my friends were like, blow me up, like, let's go, we won. And I was like, what? No, we didn't. Like, it was
impossible.
Over.
Yeah.
It was over. Yeah, one of the luckiest wins of my life. So shout out Ben Kohls for that. Hopefully he can get us a win this week. That was
But
insane.
I'm seeing we can get Kohls at 70 to 1 on FanDuel. So
he's been striping so hard, just been putting like shit, and he's generally not that bad of a putter. Like
I don't mind that at all. Yeah. I think 70 to 1. I think that's gonna make my card actually.
Yeah, I think
Ben Kohls week.
So if you're looking for some first round leaders, they're extremely volatile, and I don't think it's a predictable market. But I would say guys that we like that are 50 to 1 or higher, sprinkle a few of them first round leaders, because there's no one like, yeah, I like him for first round leader, unless it's like a triple digit 6K guy. Those are like first round leader guys. But I think if you want to do some of this, take 5 guys 50 to 1 or higher that we like, and throw them on with a little Thursday Night Football props. Like that would be a nice like 400 to 1 hit if you do it. So
yeah,
that would be beautiful.
Yeah, I always try and push my first round leaders with a lot of the guys that I liked during the week, because if you have a card of like, say you have a short card of 4 to 6 guys, and then you bet other guys first round leader, and one of the guys that you had on your card hits, it stings a little bit worse.
It definitely does hurt. So down at this like 70 to 1 and below range, I like Hayden Springer. He's a golfer like Andrew Novak, like Rico Horry, who can be that total driver to take care of things. Hayden Springer shot 59, which means he's probably going to shoot 59 this week. So why not go to Hayden Springer? And Ryo Hisatsune at 75 to 1, a golfer who does hit a lot of fairways, and he's great with his middle irons and wedges. I do worry about the putter, but he could definitely surely pop in a week. He's won around 15, 16 under in France before at a really positional tight golf course. So I like those 2 guys. Anyone you like down here before we get into the 100s?
My last one in this range is Vince Whaley, actually.
Vince? Why do you like Vince?
So 60 to 1 outright, and that's on a site where I can get his top 6 each way. So going to hit both of those, but plays a shorter course as well. He's another one that popped up. Last 10 rounds, he leads the field and putting, and he's 6th in strokes gained around the green. He's made 6 of his last 7 cuts with a solo second at Barracuda. And I mean, the only thing that really worries me are his irons, but him being able to do everything else good and having a very strong short game, I think might push him over the edge this week. So I think 60 to 1 is a really good number, especially when I see it on a site where I can get it each way.
We were so close to having like a massive victory lap on Justin Suh, specifically you were.
I know.
He started off so hot and then he just faded. He's like, I think he's close. Like he's now played all right, like in like back-to-back 3 straight weeks kind of. So
yeah, I pulled it up Thursday and I was like, it's happening.
Right. Like he was leading for a little bit. Then he made a double and then birdied the last, I think. So But then he didn't play good on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. But he made the cut, so could have cashed you some money somehow. I like triple digits. I think I go back to Toasty. Well, I didn't bet him last week. He was the most tipped golfer. But listen with Toasty. He led the field in birdies at the Shriners, a super, super tight course that requires you to hit a ton of fairways and be super accurate. That does not sound like Toasty. Then you get him on a golf course like El Cardinal, and it's wide open. It should make so much sense for Toasty. And he's like 15 over. Makes no sense. Now he's on another golf course that you got to be accurate and just like, I don't think it makes sense, but he's double the number and he can make birdies in bunches. If he's just on for that week, he can win on like any kind of golf course. I think it's a great number for a guy at a Birdie Fest.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see why not.
Did you look at the leaderboard and see him like plus 10 at any point? Because I like had to.
I didn't scroll down that far. I was just checking the top every now and then. But I did not see that. I always go
to the bottom like on Thursday to see like what guys are doing. Like, oh, Toasty's 11 over. This checks out completely. That's hilarious. So,
I was gonna ask you, how much do you weigh in the FedEx Cup fall standings? Is that something you're looking at?
Guys have been talking about it, so I think it means a lot to them. So I would say, yeah, like it matters. Guys know where they are. I know there's a few guys that are like Joel around that 125 number. He really cares. Like,
because I got it up right here. I mean, if you look at like really from 115 down to the bottom, I mean, all of these guys have some wiggle room. So like Alex Smalley's one guy you talked about. He's at 120. Bridgman's 115. So it's like there's a lot of guys who are right on that border, and obviously they're playing every single week for a reason. Like
Right.
we're seeing almost identical fields because these guys are trying to get their cards for next year. So actually Hayden Springer's a really good example. He's 125 on the fall standings. So the guys have a lot more to play for.
Yeah, no, they all know where they're at, and like obviously they're motivated every week, but like these are the guys that aren't rich as fuck, like the top 100 players in the world that really need this season because this is their job. They don't want to go play on unconditional starts. So so let's give ourselves 3 outrights, a positional, and like one matchup. So I'll start us off 30-1. I'm gonna go with Andrew Novak. He's a striper. He putted poorly in his last start, so I think he'll play all right.
I think my top outright is Grayson Sig, 45-1.
Grayson Sig. Okay, I do like that. He's going to Bermuda. Then from there, I'll give my 2 because they're around the same number, and I'll let you give 2. Hayden Springer and Ryo Hisatsune, 70-1 and 75-1. Springer, I think, can just really drive it well and just position himself with a great off the tee week. And then Ryo is a great birdie maker with his middle irons and wedges. So like those 2 guys. Who are your final 2 outrights?
Final 2 outrights. We'll go Vince Whaley, 60-1, top 6 each way. Playing good on the shorter courses, really strong. Short game, just needs the irons to show up. And I'm going to go with a bomb for my 3rd one that I actually hadn't mentioned. But another guy for the first round leader question, I think this is worth a sprinkle as well. But Brandon Wu, 125-1. He's actually the first bet that I made. I bet him outright, and I threw top 20 at plus 360. But I feel like anytime he shows up for me, I really can't hold back on him. So short course thing again, he plays really well on these shorter courses. Comes in with some form with a top 30 last week. Hit a lot of fairways. His miscut at the Shriners, he still gained on approach. And he's been really good around the green this season. So Brandon Wu was a guy who checked quite a few boxes for me. And when we get a guy like that at 125-1, this is like my Justin Sue play from last week to an extent. Like,
it worked out.
A guy who was supposed to be very good and has kind of flopped. And Wu's another guy on the outside looking in of the top 125. So he's got some catching up to do, and with time running out.
Who's your favorite positional bet? So we'll do that.
Favorite positional bet would be, let's see, I would probably, considering Brandon Wu is the only one that I've bet top 20 on at plus 360, I would go there. But want another bomb?
But for positional or for just in general? Okay, let's hear it.
Francesco Molinari plus 225, top 40.
That's a great number. I didn't even know it was in this field. Wow. What are his outright odds?
400.
Wow. Molinari top 40.
Top 40 plus 225.
He
So
wouldn't be playing this event if he really didn't care. So I agree.
right. He actually popped up for me. Like his recent form approach numbers are actually not bad.
Like
he
on
hasn't
the
put a
European
ton.
tour.
He basically just played the majors and then Shriners. He was T59 but gained 2.6 on approach. Scottish, he gained over 3 strokes on approach. And I feel like, I mean, we got to rewind a few years, but the old Molinari is the type of guy we're looking for here.
Hey, listen, I saw people Monday morning talking about Brandt Snedeker, like saying was a good bet at 200 to 1. Like, we're getting a 400 on Molinari. I mean, that's generational wealth if I've ever heard of it. So I'm down too. All right. Not a bomb, but a guy that I also wanted. I mentioned him at the beginning of the pod. Nico Echeverria, top 20 is plus money. Listen, I'm not going to overthink it. It's plus money. This dude is, they don't call him Tiger Echeverria for nothing. Like, he's legit. He has found his golf swing, and he's playing good golf. And why is he still in, like, the 35 range, and he's plus money for a top 20?
Right.
I'm not saying it's a lock, and this is a golf. He's won on a golf course that's so similar to this coastal resort-style course. He's playing the best golf of his life.
He thrives in the fall. Literally. A top 20, he can do that in his sleep.
So I like that for a positional. Do you have any matchups that you like, or you haven't looked at any matchups?
Haven't looked at matchups yet. My last positional, Scott Piercy plus 140 for a top 40.
Did not think you were going to say that. Okay. Scott Piercy.
Hey, you never know what I'm coming with, especially on these top 40s. I always go to that plus money mark and kind of see what we're working with. So, 4 straight cuts before missing it last week. Really good off the tee, obviously through accuracy, and T27 last year. So, I mean, plus 140 with the top 40, you're hoping for a guy to make the cut and have a decent weekend. You're not asking for a whole lot. So
everyone knows when Scott Piercy makes 4 straight and misses one, he's going to bounce back. So I love where your head's at with that.
He's either bouncing back or he's going to miss 30 straight, and then his career is going to be over. So
what is his number on top 40?
Plus 140.
Okay, like Scotty P, like let's do it. He needs a short course. He's a guy, like he's also a guy that you wake up Thursday morning and you're like, oh, he's 400 through 6. That's Scott Piercy.
Yep.
So you just totally see, I could see that coming. All right, my matchup for the week is Rico Hoy minus 110 over Johnny Vegas, a guy that I've been so high on Rico, just a striper. Whereas Johnny Vegas has showed good things in the end of the season last year and the beginning of the fall, but you can't miss the cut at El Cardinal, a golf course that Vegas should be like killing at, and he didn't play well. So that shows me where his form is right now. So I like Rico at minus 110 odds to just simply beat Johnny V. So
yeah,
those are the bets. You got anything else before we head out of here, or that's
all I got. I mean, two more weeks left. So like I said, if you're on the fence with some guys, take a look at the fall standing. It's worth looking at. And like I said, that's the reason that most of these guys are here, and it's the reason that we're seeing nearly identical fields. So
yeah,
there's a lot at stake, especially DP World Tour this week too is going to be a good one.
So yeah, we had a really good week last week in terms of sweats and positionals. So let's do it again this week. Dom, thank you for joining me yet again. Week 2 of our fall episodes, and thank you guys for listening. Quick 40 minutes. Don't worry, it'll get deeper come January, I hope, and then we move along. So you guys know where to find us. Hit us up with any questions, and we'll catch you guys next week. Peace out. Thank you for joining.